Good morning students, welcome back to the social class. In our previous class we know very well we have completed successfully the water resources. Am I right? So as we have completed successfully the water resources, today what I have planned is I have planned to start a new lesson from the history. So the new lesson from the history which I am about to start today is the first war of Indian independence. Okay, so in this module I am going to give the brief introduction about this lesson. Okay, so once I am going to give the brief introduction about this lesson, 50 to 60% of the lesson is going to be covered, and remaining others we are going to discuss in our upcoming classes. Okay, the first war of Indian independence, it took place in 1857. Okay, so actually what happens now, when it comes to the Indian historians narrated this incident as the first war of Indian independence, whereas the same incident has been narrated by the British historians as the Sepoy Mutiny. So according to the British historians, this incident is going to be known as the Sepoy Mutiny. So Sepoy Mutiny, in the sense, it was just a misunderstanding among some of the soldiers. But whereas the Indian historians, they are going to narrate this incident as the first war of Indian independence. Okay. In this lesson, what are the main concepts we need to discuss? So first is the reasons for the first war of Indian independence. See, first we are going to discuss about what are the main reasons or what are the main causes for the first war of Indian independence. Next we are going to discuss immediate reasons for the mutiny. So what was the immediate cause, immediate reason for the first war of Indian independence also we are going to discuss. And next, scope and nature of mutiny, in the sense how this mutiny went on. So whether it got the scope from each and every parts of the India, each and every corner of the India, or it was supported by a few people, that we are going to discuss in this. And finally, we are going to discuss the failure and results of this mutiny also. So why the first war of Indian independence failed, and what was the reasons for the fail of first war of Indian independence also we are going to discuss in detail. Okay, see, we all know once upon a time India, it was under the control of the British, and as India was under the control of the British, we know very well our ancestors, they faced a number of difficulties because these British used to treat the Indians as if the servants, and we were not at all declared as the citizens also. So we used to be treated as if the animals only. See, we are the civilians, we are the locals of this country. So even though we are the civilians of this country, we were not at all having any freedom. We were not at all having any rights in our country. And the people were totally fed up with the administration of the British. So as the people were totally fed up with the administration of British, they decided to rebel against the British. So as they decided to rebel against the British, that incident is going to be narrated as the first war of Indian independence. Okay, so for this first war of Indian independence, some of the reasons are there. See, without any reason, there is no question of rebel, there is no question of war. Am I right? So if you take the example of any of the wars which have been taken place in the past or in the history, each and every war, they are having their own reasons, their own causes. So like that only, the first war of Indian independence is also going to have some of the important reasons, some of the important causes. So today we are going to discuss about some of the important reasons for the first war of Indian independence and how they played a very, very important role in the first war of Indian independence also we are going to discuss in detail. First is the political reasons, second is the economic reasons, and fourth is the administrative reasons, and finally we are going to discuss about the military reasons and the immediate reason also we are going to discuss in detail. So when it comes to the political reasons, see, these British, no, they were very, very cunning people. So they wanted to expand their territory or their rule all over the country. So in order to expand their territory or their rule all over the country, no, they implemented new policies in India. So among them, no, the doctrine of policy and subsidiary alliance. So these two are very, very important. You might be known very well about what do you mean by doctrine of lapse. So this doctrine of lapse, no, we have already discussed in our previous classes also. This policy was introduced by Lord Dalhousie. So according to this policy, if a king doesn't have the male heir, so if a king doesn't have the male heir, in the sense, if he doesn't have the male child, up to where he is alive, till to that he can rule his kingdom. And once he passes, no, automatically his kingdom is going to be merged with the British Empire. In the sense, the king was not allowed to adopt others' son as their children, and they can't become the next ruler also. So this was the cunning idea of the British in order to expand their kingdom. Okay, so doctrine of lapse. So it was introduced by whom? Lord Dalhousie. In the same way, Lord Cornwallis introduced, Lord Wellesley introduced the subsidiary alliance. So whoever is going to sign the subsidiary alliance, no, directly or indirectly, once again they are coming under the control of British only. So you know very well about the subsidiary alliance. So subsidiary alliance in the sense, if a local king is going to make the pact or a treaty with the British, he is supposed to accept some of the conditions of the British. So conditions in the sense, the local king is supposed to keep the battalion of British soldiers in his kingdom, or one troop of the British soldiers in his kingdom. And once he is going to keep the British soldiers in his kingdom, no, it is the duty of the local king to give all the basic needs for the soldiers. All the expenses of the soldiers are supposed to be bared by the local king only. And the local king is not supposed to appoint any of the foreigner in his kingdom without the permission of British or the English. And if the local king is ready to accept all these things, then the British were ready to help the local king. And whoever is going to sign this, no, automatically they used to come under the control of British only. So directly or indirectly, the intention of saying this one is, by cunning ideas, British wanted to expand their kingdom, expand their territory. So by this, no, many of the local kings, they lost their kingdom. If you take the example of Rani Lakshmi Bai, Rani Lakshmi Bai was also not having the male heir, and she adopted a child, thinking that the British is going to give the permission for her to make the adopted child as the next successor of Jhansi. But you know very well, so it was not happened. And even though Rani Lakshmi Bai did not accepted the British policy, she fought very, very daringly against the British in battlefield. So she tied up her adopted child on her back and she fought till to her death in the battlefield. That you know very well. So with the help of these policies, that is the doctrine of lapse and subsidiary alliance, no, British were able to expand their what? Kingdom. And the kings, those who lost the kingdom, no, they were eagerly waiting to take the revenge against the British. So this was the main reason for the first war of Indian independence. Okay. Next is the economic reasons. See, these economic reasons are also going to play a very, very important role in the first war of Indian independence. During that time only in England, no, the industrial revolution took place. As a result of industrial revolution, no, the number of industries started to increase in England. And as the number of industries increased in England, no, they were manufacturing number of goods and things. And whatever the goods and things they have manufactured, no, in order to sell that one, they were in need of the market. And they made India as their market. So they used to bring all the goods and things which have been manufactured in the England industries to the India. And they used to sold in the Indian market. Now what happened, you see, the Indian people, those who used to manufacture the goods and the things with the help of hand, no, they were unable to give the competition for the machine made goods. And as they were unable to give the competition for the machine made goods, no, they became unemployed. Automatically their income, no, it was totally affected. And it was very difficult for them to lead the life also. You know very well, usually the machine made goods are there, no? The machine made goods are going to have the exact finishing, accurate size, and even everything will be same. But whereas when we are going to manufacture the goods and things with our own hand, it is very difficult for us to manufacture similar goods and things often and often. And as a result, no, many of the people, those who are manufacturing the goods and things in India with the help of hand, no, they lost their job. And it was also the important reason for the first war of Indian independence. Next is the administrative reasons. This is very, very important one. Now you see, administrative reasons in the sense, these British, when they established their power in India, no, they introduced the new laws. And these new laws, whatever they introduced, no, they were not treated equally to everyone. The rules and regulations were not even for everyone. In the sense, the British, those who were there in India, for them, the separate rules and regulations were there. And for Indians, the separate rules and regulations were there. For example, you see, if a civilian Indian is going to commit a small mistake also, he will be punished very, very severely under the law. But whereas, if the same mistake is going to be committed by the British, he was given excuse. And automatically, the people, those who are there in India, no, the civilians, localians, they frustrated with the administrative system of the British. And they wanted to take the revenge against the British. So, it was the next reason for what? First war of Indian independence. And military reasons. So, this is also very important. For your kind information, the English army was there, no? British army was there, no? More than 70% of the soldiers in the army were Indians only. Even though 70% of the soldiers were Indians, they were not treated equally. Indian soldiers were paid very, very less salary. And whatever the facilities the British soldiers used to get, no, that facilities were not given for the Indian soldiers. And especially the higher ranks in the military, they were meant only for the British. Maybe it is the major, maybe it is the colonel, maybe it is the captain. So these all higher ranks are there, no, they are meant for only the British soldiers. Now the Indian soldier, if he is going to appoint as a soldier, he was supposed to retire as soldier only. There is no question of promotion at all. Then automatically the soldiers, those who are working in the English army, they were also not at all satisfied with the policies of British, and it also became the next reason for the first war of Indian independence. Okay, so after all this, the most important is immediate cause. So what was the immediate cause? It is very, very important for you to understand. Listen carefully. During that time only, British introduced the Royal Enfield gun, rifle, you know. So usually the police will be having the rifles with their hand. You might have seen that one. So the British introduced Royal Enfield rifle, And once they introduced the Royal Enfield, this one, no? Yeah, cartridges were there. So cartridges in the sense where we are going to keep the bullets, and in order to load the bullets to the rifle, they were supposed to open the cartridges with the help of teeth. And there was a rumor saying that these cartridges were smeared either by the fat of pig or a fat of cow. Now you see, for in India, cow is holy for the Hindus and pig is totally opposite for the Muslims. Now those who were there in the army, they opposed. They said very clearly, we are not going to make use of what? The cartridges. But British officers, no, they made mandatory, forced, compulsory to make use of that one. So during that time, one of the brave soldier by name Mangal Pandey was there. And when the British officer forced him to make use of this cartridges, no, straight away he rejected. And when he was straight away rejected, the British officer got angry and straight away he kicked on the chest of Mangal Pandey. And when the British officer kicked on the chest of Mangal Pandey lost his patience. And he was having the rifle with him. So usually in the rifle, no, we are going to have a knife also. That knife will be with of poison. He took the same rifle and attacked over the what? Officer. And it became the immediate cause for the first war of Indian independence. Okay. In this module, today we came to know about the first war of Indian independence and what are all the important things we are going to discuss in this chapter, and some of the reasons of the first war of Indian independence also we have discussed. See, next, the immediate reasons for the mutiny, that we are going to discuss in the next period. So that also we have discussed already, but once again in detail we are going to have a discussion about that one in the next period. And today's homework, what you need to do is, you have to list out the reasons for the first war of Indian independence. Okay, so till now whatever we have discussed, I hope you might have understood everything, and keeping this in the mind now, I am going to conclude my class here itself. In upcoming class, once again we are going to continue. Thank you.